Hey, good morning. This is Chris. Welcome back to Ohrmundt Simmentals. Today we're going to do a different video, different style. There's not really going to be much of cows in here today. Today we're going to go take a look at what crops that we have planted this year. But if we're looking at crops today, why are we starting out up in the barn? We've got an old stone foundation barn with a big old barn board upstairs. Upstairs is where we keep some of our more important equipment, including some of our planters, and that's why I wanted to start up here and show you guys what we got last fall that helped us plant something we've never planted before. So last fall we picked up 5100 International Soybean Special because we wanted to try soybeans. Typically we've done corn on corn, usually about 2 years in a row, and then we'll go back into some kind of seeding the field down with hayseed, things like that, maybe a little bit of small grains mixed in. We picked one up last fall. It's in pretty nice shape. We put new seed tubes on for the grass box. We also put Dad had made this for tracker racers for our old John Deere FBB. The old grain drill was pretty wore out, so we also needed a grain drill, and we thought we'd kill two birds with one stone and get ourselves something that'll be able to do both. And it seems like the soybeans this year, comparing to other people, they seem to be turning out pretty decent. So without further ado, let's go take a look at our first field. First fields. This is about 8-acre field. Right before this you see driving by the field. When I turn you around, the one thing that we're not overly excited about on this first field is that there's a little bit more weed pressure in here than we would like. We did have it sprayed, but we think the sprayer might have had a couple of plug nozzles, because you can kind of see strips where it's pretty evident that they probably missed it when the co-op did the spraying. Not a super huge deal, but you know, it did definitely leave some weed pressure. So I'm going to turn the camera around. So if anything, definitely we are kind of happy about this field. We planted it a little bit thicker than our second field. Like I said, this is about an 8-acre field, and these things are at least waist high, and I'm about 5'10". They are really thick, and as you can see that if you can see in there definitely is some weed pressure. We do have a little bit of these, and this is what I'm double checking today, is we're getting some of these Asian beetles, but they haven't gotten as bad as we thought. We noticed them a couple weeks ago, but as you can see, the pods are starting, and the pods are there, and we just got a really nice rain last night. We got 3/4 of an inch. So this field we are definitely pretty happy with so far, especially with our first attempt at raising soybeans, growing soybeans. This will be a cash crop. Obviously we'll sell it. So overall, we're fairly happy with this field being our first attempt at soybeans. Obviously we'll have to wait and see how it bushels out, but if anything, they don't suck. All right, let's move on to the next one. Made it up to our biggest field. This is about 26 acres or so. this is some rented land from our neighbors. It's a little bit sandier up here. We got pretty sandy soil here, and sometimes things will dry out a little bit quicker. That's why we wanted to plant those soybeans in the other field pretty darn thick to shade things over pretty quickly. This field up here is actually a tick sandier than even the field we were just at. So things are a little bit shorter. They're a little bit behind, but not by much. We did bring it back, the setting, a little bit, so it was a little bit thinner. Not sure if that did a whole lot. Overall, I guess we'll see when we get when the final product comes in. But I'll turn it around and give you a look. So here's our field. We go down to that tree line, and basically where you see the tree line is basically the edge of the field. It's about 26 acres. There is a little bit of weed pressure in here. Not a whole lot, not as much as the last field. This is quite a bit shorter in here. I don't know if that's because we planted it thinner, or just because the ground, they were fertilized the same, things like that. The last field we did chisel plow that and disc it. This field we just disced it twice because it is so loose. This field was corn on corn, and we needed to get this into a rotation, so that's why we really wanted to get the soybeans up here. But we also needed to get them planted pretty thick too. There's, with all the trees around, there are definitely a lot of deer around here, so we definitely needed to get them thick. You can see that the pods are coming in. They're there. They're starting to fill. Hopefully, I can feel some stuff in there. Take a peek at a little bit of a lower field we did something a little bit different with this year. So right now I came just below that soybean field we were just looking at, and when I said that was in corn on corn for the last 2 years, so was this field down here, which essentially goes around this corner right here. It's about 6 acres along that tree line. This is a small lower field that's rented too from the neighbors. They like hunting down here, and the last couple years also we weren't able to get the corn off in time. So, and the other issue with this field down here is to get down here, it's so hard for the combine. The combine barely fits for the people that we have do that for us, and then they have to take the head off, cart it down here, hook it back up, and they're only going a couple hundred yards. So we decided to just do a real basic seed this down. We put some oats in here, and we just took those oats off as like oats bales. Cows love those. We do really well with them, and it gets our field planted down with hayseed. When we planted it, it was so dry. It got so dry after that, and this being all sand, I mean, you can look down in here. I mean, yeah, it's wet because we just had rain, but this is pure sand. When we baled the oats bales early last week, it was like a dust storm because we hadn't had rain for like a week. So you can start seeing it. It's starting to green up. The clover's starting to come in. The grass seed is in there, and it's starting to poke out. Right in here, you're starting to see some of that come in. So that stuff is there. It'll come. So we're not too worried about it. And I think it'll make some real nice, kind of like a big food plot. I think it'll turn out real nice for us in the next couple of years. And it just makes it a lot easier for us to deal with coming down here and make some bales of hay, than try and get a combine down here for 6 acres of corn or soybeans. So I just want to show you that quick, and now we're going to go take a look at some corn. Alright, so we made it down to the cornfield. Again, I told you I'd show you the sand. So now this is washed because it's come down the road from storms and stuff. But this is what we deal with down here in some of these fields. It is pure sand. But we can get it to go. We can grow stuff in it sometimes. So this field here, what we've done, and this is, we have done corn on this field. It's got to be going on 8 years now. And the only way we can get away with that is we cover this with manure pack every single year. We haul it down, you know, so it's got corn stubble in it, it's got straw and all that stuff, and that's really the only way we can get it to go. But this corn is still doing really good. I'm gonna sneak in here a few rows and we can see what it looks like. So we've been getting some timely rains, I would say. We just had 3/4 of an inch last night, and as you can see, looking up at this stuff, you know, like I said, I'm 5'10". I'm reaching up as high as I can, so this has still got some good height to it. The cobs are starting to form. We got a lot of them with 2 cobs on it, so hopefully they turn out. I'd prefer just to see one really big one personally, but I guess we'll see. We'll see how they turn out. Looks like the silks are all browning off, which is nice. It's nice to see that that's all turning. And with the timely rains, hopefully the cobs fill up nice. Get those kernels nice and full. But overall, we're pretty happy with the corn, especially down here. And I'm just snaking through, just kind of walking around. Before we just decided to keep doing corn on corn. We've had sorghum sedan grass down here, and part of the reason we kept doing corn is we would get, you know, we would get a little concerned with, you know, things like not so much the high nitrates, but the prussic acid, if there was some drought stress or something like that. So we kind of went a little bit more trying the corn on corn, and it just seems to work for us. This field, you know, goes all the way down to the tree line, and then it basically follows that tree line, and it's about 9 acres, give or take. And then this hay field for us is about 9 acres. So yeah, this is our little bit better hay field, or cornfield, excuse me. We do a lot of picking, like actual picking, and we grind our cob corn. This is the field that we're hoping to pick for cob corn. But if it turns out too good, we might have to combine this one and pick our other one, but we're not sure yet. We hope to pick this one. So let's go take a look at our last field. All right, so we made it back to our last field. This is a 16-acre cornfield. Hopefully to get it combined, sell the grain. But a little history lesson on this field. We screwed this field up a little bit from the start. We're still a little bit new to chisel plowing. We've only had our chisel plow for a couple of years. And our first thought was, since we're so sandy, this was a hay field last year. Our first thought was we were going to chisel plow it. Thought, oh, it should chisel plow pretty decent and break up and then disc it a few times and we'll be fine. We chiseled it and then started disking it, and since it was so dry, this ground just turned into a rock, and our disc, even though it's pretty heavy, just would not do anything. We disced it, we chisel plowed it actually like twice, disced it multiple times, and it just was not happy. When we planted, we got really poor emergence. We had about 3/4 of the field, if a little bit less than that, came up like normal, like we would expect it to, and then we had about 25% of the field that literally came up about 2 weeks later. So it is all about the same height now. You can see some of it is a little bit stunted in growth. but I guess we'll find out come this fall how it's doing. You can kind of tell when we get in here looking at the silks which ones are a little bit behind and which ones are not. All right, so we're in a little ways. Again, just like the other field, this corn height-wise is looking really nice. I mean, the stalks are looking nice. The brace roots are looking okay. You know, I mean, everything looks good and solid as far as our stand goes. We haven't had any super strong storms. But I think just looking at the actual stalks themselves, or the actual cobs, you know, silks are starting to brown here, but then you go right next to it, you know, and they're at this stage, you know, and the cobs are definitely a different size. You know, where this one's starting to look like something, and right next to it, you know, it's literally half the size. So you can obviously tell that some of this corn is much further behind than the rest of it. So I guess only time will tell. Hopefully we have just a little bit of a warmer fall, I guess at least into September, through September, to help some of this stuff catch up. We did have a really small hailstorm. You can see some of the leaves got torn, you know, going through here. Our other field did not see that at all. But this is from a few weeks ago. We had a little bit of hail that went through for about 5 or 10 minutes, but it wasn't real big, but just enough that it tore some of these leaves up a little bit. So, but all in all, considering where this field started from, that it was so far behind and some of the emergence and all that stuff, and honestly, that was really our fault. We should have plowed it, but we wanted to try the chisel on it just to see what it would look like, see how it would do. We thought it would do fine, but we were wrong. So we're gonna end this video where we started, back in the barn. I just want to do a quick little tour of kind of our more of the cash crop type stuff, the row crop stuff, the soybeans and the corn. Like I said, I'm no crop expert. That's what our agronomists are for, to get the tips and tricks from them. But I think we do an okay job. Like I said in the first field, we don't really like the weed pressure in our soybeans, but that's easily corrected for next year with just making sure the spray job is done a little bit better. Hay field wise, yeah, we definitely do hay. That's our main crop for our cows. But I'm not going to talk too much about that. More videos to come just on cutting and baling and things like that. And we're starting up second crop here. Well, this afternoon, we're going to start cutting some second crop. That field I showed you earlier, we'll start cutting that this afternoon. But thanks for coming along. This was just a short tour of our stuff. Again, I'm still a pretty new channel, but if you would, please like and subscribe. Just show me that I'm not doing crappy videos, that they don't suck too much. Give me any comments, feedback, any ideas, things you want to see, and there's going to be more videos coming on different topics. As you can hear in the background, the doors are banging from the barn because it's pretty breezy out. We had some good winds last night. So you take care, take it easy. Thanks for coming along.